Part 1. A humble beginning. Far away from the noise and luxury of the city, nestled among rolling fields and dusty footpaths, was a peaceful village where life moved at a slower pace. The people depended on farming, trading, and helping one another through every season. It was in this quiet community that Amina was born and raised. Her family owned very little. Their small mud brick house had only a few rooms, and every meal came from the hard work of their hands. They had no expensive possessions, no luxurious cars, and no influential connections. Yet, despite their poverty, they possessed something that many wealthy people could not buy: an honorable name. From childhood, Amina was taught that kindness was more valuable than riches, honesty was worth more than gold, and respect could open doors that money never could. Her parents constantly reminded her that a person's true wealth was measured by the goodness of their heart, not by the size of their bank account. As the years passed, Amina became known throughout the village for her gentle spirit. She never ignored anyone in need, whether it was helping an elderly neighbor carry firewood, sharing food with a struggling family, or comforting someone going through difficult times. She always offered her hands before anyone asked. Whenever misunderstandings arose among neighbors, Amina encouraged peace instead of conflict. Her patience earned her the admiration of young and old alike. Even when life became difficult, she refused to complain or envy those who had more than her family. Although she never had the opportunity to attend expensive schools or live a life of comfort, she carried herself with quiet confidence and dignity. People respected her, not because of what she owned, but because of who she was. In that humble village, everyone believed that Amina's greatest treasure was not her beauty or her education. It was her character, a character built on honesty, compassion, humility, and unwavering integrity. Little did anyone know that these simple values, learned in a poor village, would one day be tested inside one of the richest homes in the city. After several visits to the village, Ibrahim became certain that Amina was the woman he wanted to spend the rest of his life with. While others admired beauty and wealth, he admired her honesty, humility, and unwavering kindness. His decision surprised everyone who knew him. As the only son of one of the richest families in the city, many expected him to marry the daughter of a wealthy businessman or a powerful politician. Instead, he chose a woman whose greatest possession was her good character. Despite his family's objections, Ibrahim Pim remained firm. He refused to let social status determine who deserved love and respect. A simple but beautiful wedding was held. People from the village celebrated with joy, believing Amina's life was about to change forever. When she finally arrived at Ibrahim's luxurious family mansion, everything around her was unfamiliar. The towering gates, expensive cars, sparkling chandeliers, and elegant marble floors were unlike anything she had ever seen. Although she entered her new home with hope, gratitude, and a sincere desire to become part of the family, she could already sense that not everyone was happy to see her. For Amina, the greatest challenge had only just begun. The first few days in the mansion were filled with silence, but it wasn't the peaceful kind. It was the silence of people who had already judged Amina before giving her a chance. Although Ibrahim treated his wife with love and respect, the rest of the family made it clear that she was not welcome. Every morning, Amina woke before everyone else. She helped prepare breakfast, cleaned the house with the staff, and did everything she could to earn the family's acceptance. Yet, no matter how hard she tried, her efforts were ignored. Her mother-in-law often found fault with the smallest mistakes. If the food was slightly different from what they were used to, she was criticized. If she remained quiet, they called her timid. If she smiled, They accused her of pretending to impress everyone. Her sisters-in-law laughed at her simple Ankara dresses and whispered that she looked more like a housemaid than the wife of the family's only son. During family gatherings, they proudly displayed their designer clothes and expensive jewelry while making sure Amina felt invisible. Some relatives questioned whether she had married Ibrahim out of love or because she wanted to escape poverty. Their words were painful, but Amina refused to respond with anger. Instead, she remembered the lessons her parents had taught her. Respect those who insult you. Be patient when others misunderstand you. Let your character speak louder than your words. Days turned into weeks and weeks into months. The insults never stopped, but neither did Amina's kindness. She continued to greet everyone with respect, helped the household staff without being asked, and treated every member of the family with dignity, even those who looked down on her. Unknown to everyone in the mansion, they were slowly witnessing the strength of a woman whose greatest weapon was not wealth, beauty, or power, but an unshakable character. For many months, life inside the mansion continued as it always had. The family enjoyed their luxurious lifestyle, hosted extravagant gatherings, and believed their wealth would last forever. Their successful business empire seemed too powerful to ever fail. But one unexpected event changed everything. The family had invested a significant portion of their fortune into a massive real estate and agricultural development project. The investment was managed by a business partner they had trusted for more than 20 years. He had attended family celebrations, shared meals with them, and was considered almost like a brother. No one imagined he was secretly planning his escape. One quiet morning, the family discovered that he had disappeared without warning. His office was empty, his phone had been switched off, and every attempt to contact him failed. Within days, they learned that he had transferred millions of naira from the company's accounts before fleeing the country. The shocking news spread quickly throughout the business community. Investors withdrew their support, suppliers demanded immediate payments, and several important contracts were cancelled. The company that had once employed hundreds of workers suddenly found itself drowning in debt. For the first time in decades, the family faced a future filled with uncertainty. Luxury vehicles were quietly sold, expensive properties were placed on the market, household expenses were drastically reduced, and many long-serving employees had to be dismissed. The grand mansion that was once filled with laughter and celebration became silent with worry. As the family's fortune disappeared, so did many of the people who had once surrounded them. Relatives who never missed a family celebration suddenly stopped visiting. Friends who once proudly associated themselves with the wealthy household became impossible to reach. Invitations disappeared. Phone calls went unanswered, and those who had once praised the family now avoided them completely. The painful reality became impossible to ignore. Many had loved the family's wealth, but very few truly loved the family. Watching everything unfold, Amina remained calm. While everyone else focused on what had been lost, she quietly searched for ways to help. She never reminded anyone of how they had treated her. Instead, she believed that difficult times reveal a person's true character. As hope slowly faded within the mansion, Amina prepared to prove that the greatest strength does not come from money. It comes from compassion, wisdom, and unwavering faith. The financial crisis grew worse with each passing week. Every day seemed to bring another difficult decision, another unpaid bill, or another painful sacrifice. Fear slowly replaced the pride that had once filled the mansion. Each member of the family became consumed with protecting what little remained. Some argued over money, while others searched for someone to blame. The peaceful home had become a place of anxiety and uncertainty. Through it all, Amina remained remarkably calm. She never complained about the life she had married into. Instead of thinking about what she had lost, She focused on what she could still give. One afternoon, she quietly opened a small wooden box containing the jewelry Ibrahim had lovingly given her after their wedding. Each piece reminded her of a happy memory, yet she knew memories were more valuable than gold. Without seeking recognition, she sold the jewelry and used the money to pay urgent household expenses. She made sure the elderly workers who had faithfully served the family for years received their wages before anyone discovered what she had done. When the family eventually learned of her sacrifice, they were speechless. But Amina's kindness did not stop there. Growing up in a poor village had taught her that survival depended on wisdom rather than wealth. She suggested practical ways to reduce unnecessary spending, encouraged the household to avoid waste, and organize resources so that every naira was used carefully. The expensive meals that often ended in waste were replaced with simple, nutritious dishes. Electricity and household expenses were managed more responsibly. Empty land around the mansion was transformed into productive vegetable gardens, reducing daily costs while providing fresh food for the household. Slowly, the atmosphere inside the mansion began to change. Whenever disagreements arose, Amina reminded everyone that unity was stronger than blame. She encouraged forgiveness instead of anger and cooperation instead of division. Her quiet leadership inspired everyone around her. For the first time since the crisis began, the family realized that the greatest source of strength in the mansion had never been their fortune. It had been the woman they had once refused to accept. As the months passed, the family's hearts began to change. The same people who had once laughed at Amina now watched her with admiration. Every act of kindness, every sacrifice, and every wise decision slowly erased the unfair judgment they had carried for so long. They remembered how they had mocked her simple clothes, questioned her education, and dismissed her because she came from a small village. Yet when hardship arrived, it was not wealth that rescued them. It was her character. The mother-in-law, who had once criticized Amina at every opportunity, could no longer ignore the truth. In the presence of the entire family, she openly admitted that she had been wrong. She acknowledged that she had judged Amina by her background instead of her heart. The apology was sincere, and it brought tears to many eyes. One by one, the sisters-in-law and other relatives also accepted responsibility for the pain they had caused. They confessed that pride had blinded them and asked for Amina's forgiveness. Amina responded with the same humility she had shown from the very beginning. She held no bitterness. She chose forgiveness over revenge. From that day forward, she was no longer treated as an outsider. She became the heart of the family, a woman whose wisdom, patience, and compassion united everyone around her. The mansion that had once echoed with criticism was now filled with gratitude, respect, and peace. The family finally understood that true greatness is never inherited through wealth, it is earned through character. Years passed, and through determination, discipline, and unity, the family business slowly recovered. New opportunities emerged, trusted partnerships were rebuilt, and the company once again became one of the most respected businesses in the region. Although their wealth returned, something far more valuable had changed: their hearts. Whenever visitors admired the family's success and asked how they survived the darkest period of their lives, every member of the household gave the same answer. They pointed to Amina. The quiet village girl who had once been mocked and underestimated had become the foundation upon which the family rebuilt its future. She had never sought recognition, wealth, or praise. She simply chose kindness when others chose pride, forgiveness when others expected revenge, and service when others thought only of themselves. Her example transformed not only a struggling business, but an entire family. The woman they once dismissed as just a village girl became the most respected member of the household. From that day on, No one spoke about where she came from. Instead, they spoke about the values she brought with her. And the family never forgot the lesson that changed their lives forever. Wealth may open doors, but character is what keeps them open.